The war in Gaza is on pause, but the war on rubble is about to begin. Israel's bombardment reduced the Gaza Strip to an estimated 50 million tons of rubble. And before houses can even be reimagined, let alone rebuilt, the debris must be cleared. The issue that everyone is avoiding is where to put it.
One of the options to deal with rubble in Gaza Strip is put it in the sea.
This United Nations map shows how much of Gaza is covered by rubble, and as you can see, there are only small pockets of land untouched. The UN estimate is that 70% of buildings in the Strip have been either destroyed or damaged, and that leaves an estimated 50 million tons of rubble in Gaza, spread across the region, with high concentrations around Gaza City, Khan Yunis and Rafah. And the United Nations predicted that with 105 trucks, it would take 21 years and $970 million to clear it. And it's not just a question of just coming in and taking the debris away.
It is dangerous. There is some unexploded bombs and rockets. Second, there is, at least based on the Ministry of Health, 10,000 bodies under the rubbles. I think 3 days ago, there is 3 kids already died because of a wall collapsed on them while they were playing around.
The bottom line is that there is just not much space in Gaza to put the stockpiles of broken concrete, rebar, bricks, and everything else. The United Nations says that rubbish essentially would take up 600 hectares if it was piled up to 5 meters high evenly. If the pile was only 1 meter high, it would be 3,000 hectares, and that would cover most of central London. But what about Israel's role in all of this? Several of the disposal sites proposed in the UN's plan now fall in the militarized and buffer zones controlled by the IDF. Could they take some of the rubble for disposal? It's an idea that has been mentioned to us by experts involved, but would prove politically delicate, to say the least. We asked Israel's Minister of Defense and the IDF about this possibility, but they did not respond. But there are also even more ambitious proposals.
One of the options to deal with rubble in Gaza Strip is put it in the sea to get area, like extra area, or like build another seaport. We talk about like a small island, or maybe like we can just put it exactly near to the beach so we can get another area. And it happened actually. There is many cities around the world, they implement this idea, so it's not a new idea.
Mr. Al-Nabi is not alone here. The idea of Dubai-style artificial islands is reported to be part of a Hamas-backed plan for the long-term reconstruction of Gaza. Glamorous tourist islands would presumably fit neatly into Donald Trump's vision for the future of Gaza.
I don't want to be cute, I don't want to be a wise guy, but the Riviera of the Middle East, this could be something that could be so bad, this could be so magnificent.
Of course, there are a couple of political flies in the ointment here. The problem with Hamas's plan is that Israel and the West and an awful lot of other people don't want Hamas to run Gaza anymore. The problem with Donald Trump's plan is that he also wants a permanent relocation of all of the Palestinians living in Gaza, a plan that detractors call ethnic cleansing, and which the Palestinians and all of their neighbours are firmly opposed to. But forget about the knotty political questions and think about the practicalities. When we put the idea of depositing rubble into the sea to create new land to the United Nations, they didn't rule it out as an option, but said that depositing any form of debris or materials at sea requires proper investment in sorting and processing to avoid hazardous materials like asbestos, oils and other chemicals leaking into the sea. As well as enjoying support from Hamas, potentially fitting into Donald Trump's vision, the idea could also have backing from another key player, Israel itself. In fact, they've long been pushing for the idea of an artificial island off Gaza which it would control. In 2017, Israel's then Intelligence and Transport Minister, Israel Katz, released this video.
Today, Israel continues to be perceived as being responsible for the Gaza Strip and is, to a large extent, the only lifeline to it, even though it withdrew from the Strip over a decade ago. construction of an artificial island with a port and civilian infrastructure installations off the coast of Gaza will provide the Palestinians a humanitarian, economic, and transportation gateway to the world.
And in January last year, Katz used a meeting with the EU to pitch the plan. Rubble from destroyed buildings has already been used to build jetties for transporting aid into Gaza over the last year, although those jetties didn't last long. There's an obvious irony here that such a destructive war that has effectively reduced Gaza to dust could result in the construction of entirely new land. That, of course, sets aside the big political questions, the question of who is going to own and control that land, or where the Palestinian people there are going to live. But before we even get to those points, there are basic, concrete realities that have to be addressed.